Hey guys, this is Aaron from Geeky Development and welcome to our XCode tutorials, where in this tutorial I'll be showing you how to add and implement iAd into your Swift projects. Now, for an example on the simulator, what we're going to be creating today, we have our simple project and our iAd banner at the bottom. You can see there it's moving, it's always active, there's always stuff going on. Now, as in developer mode, we display test ads rather than actual advertisements. So this is a great way to kind of experience and see what it would look like and how your application reacts to iAd. So the best thing to do is click on it and we can see it in its full glory. We can swipe next and you can see all the stuff happening and it's live. Very much so how it would be if it was actual advertising on there. So it just kind of simulates real advertisements. And then when we eventually finish, we can press the little X button and we return back to our application. It's still at the bottom, but depending on how quick your internet is, depends on how quick another ad will appear in its place. But this is what we're going to be creating today. So already I have my project set up. It's a simple single view application for the iPhone, and I've simply named it Swift Ads for the purpose of this tutorial. Now, to enable and basically use iAds into your project, we need to import the iAd framework. This gives the ability to refer back to all the preset information within the framework and enables us to kind of simplify it and display the ads a little bit more better. So what we need to do is go to build phases and drop down link binary with libraries and then click that little plus symbol. Just simply type out iAd and then add in the iAd framework to our project and then you're all done. So that's in now, so now we can basically reference it anywhere within our project. So the first thing we want to do is go to our main.storyboard. Well, I'm just going to change the screen size as this is not a particular screen size for anything. So I'll just change it to a, say, iPhone 4. And then we're going to simply search now for our iAd banner, which is at the bottom somewhere, unless I've already gone past it. There we go. And we'll drag and drop that in at the bottom. Now, we need to add constraints to this, and this is only if you're working with one interface for all screen sizes. So you just simply select your iAd banner. And as I have nothing else around the screen, I'm just going to add in some missing constraints to kind of anchor it to around the screen it's currently on. So that will change sizes no matter what screen we're working on. And then we need to right click on the ad banner and drag it up to our files owner and select the delegate. Just so we don't have to set it within the view controller .swift and code it or anything like that. So it's all preset and all done. The banner knows it's got its delegate to the view. Okay, now there's one last thing we need to do, and that's bring up the assistant editor. And I'm going to space out now the little outlet section. So we're going to right click and drag and drop it over there. And make sure this is set on strong. And we're going to have add banner view as the name. So it's easy enough to understand. I'll put a capital on the view there, looks a little bit better. And then add that in. And then what we're going to do then is change it from an exclamation mark to our question mark there. This kind of changes how it reacts to other features. So if we close our assistant editor now and go back to our standard editor, I think when we change it there, make sure it's got our connection, yeah, we're fine. Okay, so we jump into our view controller.swift, and now we have our banner. But at the moment, it's showing us an error. Now that's the only reason because of that, we haven't imported our framework into the class. And how we simply do that is just under import UI kit, we write out import, and then the name of our class, which is iAd. And then just after the UI view controller, we're going to do a comma, and then we're going to add in our add banner view delegate. As we've already linked it up, we just need to kind of reference it in the class. So we put add banner view delegate. There we go. Okay, that should get rid of all the errors. Okay, so with the banners comes a lot of functions which we can basically use. We can create function statements for if the banner's going to load, if it has loaded, and what's going to happen basically when it's finished loading. We can do a lot of preset kind of functions, which is pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is space out this section here, and I'm going to add in the majority of these functions now, just to give you a demonstration on what you can basically do. So we start by typing out our banner view here, and our first one we're going to add in is will load at the bottom there. And within this, we're simply just going to get rid of that code there. We're not going to place anything just yet. And then our next one, we're going to add in our banner did load. And again, let's get rid of that code. And the third one we're going to add in just for now is banner view did finish. So as you can see here, we've got three kind of functions that can perform an action depending on the state of the banner. So the banner will load, so this action's performed before the banner is about to load, so it's gonna load. What's gonna happen if it did load, and then basically what's gonna happen when it's finished loading, so it's completely in the screen. So there's stuff we can add there. Now we're not going to put any actions on them, we're just going to put in some NSLog so you can see it in the debug area. Now there is other ones we can work with, such as our banner action view should begin, which there we go. Let's get rid of that code there. So we can perform an action should it begin to do anything in terms of if we leave the application. As you can see here, it's on the extension on it. How does our application react to that? So it's a good little thing to have. We've got an error on here. We do actually have to have something on here if we're going to use this. So it's going to simply return it to true. There we go, so it's perfectly fine. So as it stands at the moment, nothing's really going to happen unless you state otherwise. And then our final banner statement we're going to do is simply our banner view did receive an error. So what happens if there's an error within the application in terms of loading the banner? And what happens if, like, say, for instance, we lost network connection halfway through loading it? In here is what you can basically do. And 9 times out of 10, what you want to do is basically hide the banner from the view in itself. Okay, so we got all those kind of functions in and how we can perform them. So like I said before, we're not going to use all of them, but they're just there to show you if you wanted to use them in your projects anyway. Okay, so how we get the banner to load is first we need to basically enable it to basically display the ads. So we're going to place this in our view did load. So what we're going to do is type out self and put dot can display banner ads, and we want to equal that to true because obviously we do want it to display the ads. And then we do self dot the name of our ad banner, which is ad banner there, exclamation mark, oh sorry, question mark, sorry, as we've added it on the end. And what that's going to simply do is dot delegate to equal self, as we've already done that anyway. And then what we're going to do then is again self dot add banner view question mark dot hidden is going to equal true. So at the start of loading up the application, it's going to hide the banner from the view anyway. So no matter if you've got internet connection or you haven't, you're not going to see the banner view until we are given an ad to be displayed. And then when that is basically going to display is when the banner view is about to load. In terms of, instead of will load, we don't want it to will load, we want it to did load. So if it did load an ad, then display the banner. If we placed it in will load, then we're going to display the banner before the ad has loaded in within the banner view. So we're going to simply copy this line here, paste that in here, and we're going to set this true now to false. So it's going to be false on being hidden, meaning it's going to be shown within our project. So that's basically all you kind of need there to display our banner ad. So we've got statement. I'll just go through the statements once again. So this banner will load ad banner. This function statement here is an action you can perform when the ad is about to load into the banner view. Did load ad is an action you perform once the ad has loaded into the banner, which is why we've got it to set to kind of basically show. An action here for when basically the banner has finished loading. What do you want to do then? And then another one, say like if the application was closed, what happens then? We just simply got it to return true. And then our banner view here did receive an error. So if anything happened which compromised the ad loading into your project, what would basically happen? So within these, you can make basically, you could simply place in this line of code here. So if there was an error, then simply hide the banner. That's like the simplest thing you can basically do. Well, anyway, so what we're going to do now is change the simulator. I'll change to the iPhone 6 simulator. It's a lot big there from what we've worked on the interface, so it will just show you that the constraints are actually working. And then we're going to go to build and run. Okay, then so our project is just loaded, and you can see that our iAd banner has now loaded in within the view. And the constraints are working to their absolute finest with resizing the banner, and it displays quite nicely on the bottom. And we can click on it. And again, just like on the example, we can go through and we can see it's working perfectly. We can interact with it, and then once we finish, we can close it, and it takes us back to our application, where depending on how quick your internet connection is, depends on how quick the next one loads up. Anyway, but from this point now, previously you had to go into iTunes Connect when you submitted your application and enable iAd, but once you submit your app to the App Store, once it detects that the iAd framework is in your project, it will automatically enable iAd and you will start earning revenue once it's live on the App Store. So as it stands at the moment, that's all you completely need to do to basically have iAd advertisements within your Swift application. So I hope this helps in your apps or projects at the moment, and I'll see you all next time. Hey guys, just before we click off this video, I have a few more bits of information that I'd love to share with you. But just before I do, if this tutorial helped you in any way, make sure you give it a big thumbs up, and if you haven't, make sure you subscribe and follow us on social media. All the links will be in the description below. If you want more up-to-date and in-depth tutorials on iOS 8, Xcode 6 and the Swift language, then make sure you guys enroll in our complete iOS 8 and Xcode 6 course. The links will be in the description below. And if you guys want to learn on the go, make sure you download our Xcode tutorial application from the App Store, where you can get much more than what we offer on YouTube. Again, links for this will be in the description below. And if you guys want to kick back and blow off a bit of steam, make sure you go check out my gaming channel, where we have a lot of fun, play with a lot of friends, and generally just have a good time. So make sure again you go subscribe to that channel. But once more, I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.